The Curse of King Midas. A story that proves one thing: be careful what you wish for. King Midas, the man who turned greed into his own downfall. Midas already had more wealth than anyone could dream of. Golden halls, treasure piles, cups so flashy they made sunglasses a necessity. But when the god Dionysus offered him a reward, Midas didn't ask for wisdom or peace. Nope. He asked for the power to turn anything he touched into solid gold. At first, jackpot. Pick up a rock? Boom. Gold brick. Shake someone's hand? Congrats. You've got yourself a brand new golden statue buddy. Even his palace walls sparkled brighter than ever. For a moment, he thought he'd hacked life itself. But here comes the dark twist. Try eating bread, and it hardens into metal between your teeth. Meat becomes an inedible slab. Even wine turns into liquid gold, sliding uselessly in the cup. And the real heartbreak, when his daughter rushed to embrace him, she froze in an instant. A lifeless statue, a monument to his greed. That was when Midas realized the golden touch wasn't a gift. It was a curse that stripped him of everything human: love, food, even survival itself. In some versions, Dionysus finally took pity and let him wash the curse away in the Pactolus River, where golden sands supposedly remain. Midas's tale endures as the ultimate backfire. You crave endless wealth? Enjoy starving in a palace of treasure. It's not the gods who punish you. The wish itself becomes the punishment. The Curse of Medusa. If King Midas shows how greed backfires, Medusa is the face of injustice twisted into eternal horror. Most people only know her as the snake-haired monster who could turn you into stone with a single glance. But the real story? It's much darker. Medusa wasn't born a monster. She was once a mortal woman, a priestess serving in the temple of Athena. Her beauty was legendary, which unfortunately caught the attention of Poseidon. When the sea god forced himself upon her inside Athena's sacred temple, the goddess's rage didn't fall on him. It fell on Medusa. Athena cursed her. Snakes for hair, eyes that petrify, a face no one could look at without freezing forever. The cruelest part of her curse wasn't just the transformation. It was the isolation. Medusa was exiled to the edge of the world, unable to live among humans, because even a glance meant instant death. Imagine a life where companionship is impossible, where loneliness isn't a choice but your destiny. And even death didn't bring her peace. Perseus, sent on his heroic quest, used a mirrored shield to behead her, but her severed head still carried the curse, weaponized on Athena's own shield to strike fear in enemies. Medusa's curse is one of mythology's most tragic. She wasn't evil. She was punished, transformed, and used as a tool of fear. A woman turned into a weapon, cursed so deeply that not even death could free her. The Curse of the Pharaohs. Now let's move from Greek tragedy to ancient Egypt, where curses weren't just stories, they were warnings carved in stone. Enter the infamous Curse of the Pharaohs. For centuries, locals whispered that disturbing the tombs of Egypt's kings would unleash sickness, madness, or death. And honestly, the warnings weren't subtle. Tomb walls literally spelled it out. Death will come on swift wings to he who disturbs the pharaoh's rest. That's not just a polite, "do not enter." That's basically a death threat in hieroglyphs. This legend erupted into global fame in the 1920s when Howard Carter's team uncovered the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Within weeks, Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's financial backer, died suddenly from a mosquito bite that turned septic. Newspapers ran wild. Headlines screamed of the pharaoh's wrath. And suddenly, every strange death linked to the dig fed into the story. The truth? Most of Carter's crew lived long, ordinary lives, but facts didn't matter. People wanted to believe the dead kings could still strike from beyond the grave. It was the perfect mix of superstition, greed, and ancient mystery. Imagine cracking open a tomb sealed for thousands of years, only to see the walls covered in curses practically shouting, "Turn back now." Whether the curse was real or not, its power was undeniable. It haunted the imagination, painting pharaohs as rulers so mighty they could punish you across centuries. And honestly, the ancient Egyptians would have loved knowing their threats still make us shiver today. The Curse of Cassandra. If the pharaohs cursed intruders with death, Cassandra's curse was even worse. It turned knowledge itself into torture. Cassandra was a princess of Troy, blessed by Apollo with the gift of prophecy, but when she rejected his love, the god twisted the blessing into something cruel. She would always see the future, every disaster crystal clear, but no one would ever believe her. Imagine that. You see the Trojan horse rolled through the gates. You scream, "Don't let it in." They laugh. You warn of Troy's destruction, Agamemnon's murder, even your own death. Every word is true. Every warning ignored. It wasn't just frustrating, it was madness. Picture standing in a burning building, shouting, "Fire!" while everyone shakes their head and calls you crazy until the flames consume them. That was Cassandra's life, always right, always silenced. And in the end, the curse delivered her to her fate. She foresaw her own murder, but could do nothing to stop it. Her voice was the truth, but her curse made sure it never mattered. Cassandra's story endures because it's terrifyingly familiar. Being dismissed, being silenced, knowing what's coming, powerless to stop it. Sometimes, the cruelest curse isn't death. It's being right, while the whole world calls you a fool. The curse of the Flying Dutchman. Few curses capture eternal despair like the legend of the Flying Dutchman, the sailor's nightmare of endless wandering. The story goes that a Dutch sea captain tried to round the Cape of Good Hope, one of the most brutal stretches of ocean on Earth. When storms battered his ship, most men would have turned back. But this captain wasn't most men. He shouted into the raging sky, daring the heavens, "I'll sail until the end of time if I must." And the heavens answered. Literally, his words became a curse, condemned to sail forever. His ship could never reach land, never dock at a port, never drink fresh water again. Just waves, storms, and an eternity of salt-soaked misery. Over time, sailors began whispering about a ghostly vessel, glowing faintly in the fog, vanishing as quickly as it appeared. Seeing it on the horizon wasn't exciting. It was an omen, a sign that your own voyage might end in disaster. The Flying Dutchman became more than a ghost story. It was a warning about arrogance. Defy the sea, mock the gods, and you'll find yourself trapped in a cycle without end. Eternal wandering, eternal regret. Even today the tale lingers because there's nothing scarier than a punishment that has no finish line. Imagine the crew centuries later, still circling the oceans, muttering, "Anyone bring snacks? Nope. Just more storms forever." The curse of the Hope Diamond. Not every curse is carved in myth. Some glitter in display cases, daring you to believe. Enter the Hope Diamond, a jewel so stunning it almost looks alive, and so infamous it's whispered to have destroyed everyone who owned it. Legend says the diamond was stolen centuries ago from the eye of a sacred statue in India. From that moment on, anyone who held it was doomed. Kings, queens, bankers, and thieves all fell into ruin. King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette both lost their heads after the diamond passed through French royal hands. A wealthy heiress who wore it died penniless. A jeweler who cut it was murdered. Even casual owners met mysterious fates. By the early 1900s, newspapers called it the Cursed Stone, tracking every tragedy in sensational headlines. Whether the curse was real or just good storytelling didn't matter. The legend had already crystallized. Today, the Hope Diamond sits safely in the Smithsonian. People marvel at its deep blue glow, but no one dares to claim it, because maybe the diamond isn't cursed at all. Maybe the real curse is its beauty, the way it makes people risk everything just to possess it. Pandora's box. Every curse we've covered so far strikes at individuals, kings, queens, sailors, even entire bloodlines. But Pandora's curse, it was aimed at all of humanity. It began when the gods wanted to punish mankind for stealing fire from Olympus. Their revenge wasn't thunder or plague. Instead, they crafted Pandora, the first woman, beautiful, curious, and destined to play her part in a story much bigger than herself. As a gift, they handed her a sealed jar. The warning was simple: never open it. But curiosity is a powerful force. One moment of weakness, one lifted lid, and every curse imaginable came flooding out. Disease, sorrow, famine, despair. They poured across the world like shadows unleashed, staining human life forever. Suddenly, suffering was part of our story. And yet, all was not lost. At the very bottom of the jar, after every curse had flown free, one last thing remained: hope. Fragile, but unbreakable, the gods may have unleashed suffering, but they couldn't kill humanity's ability to endure it. That's why Pandora's box endures as the ultimate curse. It explains not just why bad things happen, but also why we keep going, even when everything falls apart, because somewhere in the chaos, there's always hope left to hold on to.